Today we're remembering a hurricane that would forever change Louisiana and the Gulf Coast. Hurricane Katrina hit on this day in 2005 with devastating winds and storm surge. Then breaches in the federal levee system would leave 80% of New Orleans underwater. Not only are we marking the 19th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Ida struck 3 years ago today.
Katrina was one of the country's costliest disasters, and now nearly 2 decades on, we're still healing. Today we've learned local officials are pushing for a new state holiday.
Eleanor Tabone was at that anniversary event in New Orleans, and she begins our team coverage tonight.
I'm a survivor, a resident of the lower 9th Ward. As I walked up, you saw the pictures of 2 people on the back of my shirt who died that day. My 3-year-old granddaughter, my 73-year-old mother. Our house floated away with us on top of the roof.
Here in New Orleans, too many families share the same heartache as Robert Green.
It was a day of extreme loss. Me losing my grandfather, me losing my family dynamic.
August 29th, 2005, Hurricane Katrina unleashed catastrophic destruction on New Orleans, flooding the city and leaving a trail of unimaginable loss and despair in its wake.
My cousin Bryce, whose house was on Tennessee, was rescued in a tree.
For 43 days, much of the Big Easy was underwater.
You decided to stay here. Why?
I didn't have no other place to go, really. And didn't think it would be this bad.
Residents flocked to the Superdome, seeking refuge. Others trapped in their homes prayed they'd be found.
Finding a way with memories of floating bodies still on our minds.
19 years on, no matter the weather, New Orleans is still here.
The fact of the matter is, New Orleans are just strong, unbroken people.
1,392 known people died. Many bodies were never identified. The economic damage Hurricane Katrina caused is about $125 billion. The travesty of this storm is pushing city and state leaders to take action to ensure the heartache the storm caused is never forgotten.
But I'm actively pursuing that we recognize this day as a state holiday.
The horrors witnessed during Hurricane Katrina, those seared into memory with pain. New Orleanians say future generations need to understand where they came from and understand the profound human cost those before them endured.
40 years, 20 years for those who didn't experience Katrina, they understand what their parents and their grandparents went through to sustain their lineage in these communities.
The wounds left by the storm may never fully heal, but the indomitable spirit of the city's people will live on forever, because this is New Orleans, and that's what New Orleanians do. Eleanor Tabone, WWL Louisiana.
Representative Alonzo Knox says he will introduce a bill to create a new state holiday for Katrina on August 29th for next year's legislative session.
Charlie Taylor, Michael Thompson.
St. Bernard Parish leaders and residents gathered on the banks of the Mississippi River Gulf outlet at the Katrina Memorial there this morning to remember those who died in the storm. A 25-foot storm surge swallowed up entire subdivisions and swept homes and businesses off their foundations. Almost every one of St. Bernard's 68,000 residents was left homeless. Terry Petrie lost his mother during Katrina.
Sometimes I go up to my mother's house, even though the slab is just there. I play like they got a door right there, knock on the door and invite myself in. Hey, Mom, I'm here. You got coffee? And I walk through the house like they got walls.
St. Bernard is turning tragedy into a comeback story. In recent years, it's become one of the fastest growing parishes in Louisiana. Paul Murphy takes a closer look, coming up new at 6.
Oh, this is also the day Hurricane Ida hit in 2021. The storm damaged or destroyed all of the high voltage transmission lines that provide our power, leaving more than 1 million people in the dark, many of them for weeks. Since then, Entergy New Orleans says it has prioritized reliability. Our Leah McNeil has more on those efforts.
Down here in southeast Louisiana, August 29th means something. August 29th, 2005. Scars from that day are still healing 19 years later. August 29th, 2021. There are new wounds from that day 3 years ago that still sting too.
Were you without power?
Oh, yeah.
I was that power. It's not fun.
New Orleans Councilman Joe Giarrusso remembers the days following Hurricane Ida well.
I remember being in our attic and other places, and it's miserably hot upstairs, and my phone was absolutely blown up with, is my power back? Why isn't my power back? Well, when is my power coming back? Well, they say this is when the power is coming back. Do you know if the power is coming back?
Giarrusso says after Ida, collective anxiety spread as hours turned into weeks without power. About a month later, most power was restored, with ongoing efforts by Energy New Orleans to make repairs and improve the grid. Fast forward 3 years later.
When it comes to the grid hardening and resiliency, there's still a lot more that needs to be done.
I think Ida demonstrated that Entergy really hadn't done much since Katrina.
Jesse George with the Alliance for Affordable Energy says the utility has dropped the ball many times over the last few years.
The sort of work that they should have been doing for the past decades since Katrina, hardening poles and distribution infrastructure, now they've come to the City Council with this huge $1 billion package.
The New Orleans City Council, who oversees the utility, did approve $100 million to harden the grid. It's a part of Operation Gridiron, a $1 billion investment that will be spread over 10 years that Energy says will upgrade thousands of poles, strengthen 650 miles of power lines, and cut outage times. George says the power company is moving in the right direction, but have a narrow approach to grid resiliency.
And we really need to be looking at a range of options, including on the customer side of the meter, like energy efficiency and distributed renewable resources.
He also says the council is moving in the right direction, but could do more.
The problem is the standards are too low.
We've been, I think, fairly aggressive, actually, in either fining or holding them accountable.
Giarrusso says it's a delicate balance.
I still think some of the reliability issues need to be addressed, and we're waiting on Energy to tell us more about what they're doing. And at the same time, what is that place where we're not looking to overwhelm residents, but at the same time minimize the amount of time people are without power.
A delicate balance to keep the power on. In New Orleans, Leah McNeil, WWL Louisiana.
In a statement, an Entergy New Orleans spokesperson said they are proud of the progress made thus far, and they've already invested millions in making the grid more reliable. But the scope of today's severe weather requires a comprehensive upgrade, and they're eager to get started. Our coverage of the storm anniversaries will continue tonight at 6 and 10, and you can see more of the stories on our website and free smartphone app and on WWL Plus on streaming services.